Really close.
I got some body fat. All right. Guys, we're going to have a good show today. We are going to talk about the impact of
HOAs, homeowners associations,
Homeowners
or
associations.
as they are really called as private owners associations. So it's actually POAs. Everybody calls them HOAs, but if you read the ordinance, it's the Property Owners Association Act is the actual legislation that controls homeowners associations.
I've learned so much from you on this show.
Uh-oh.
And this topic, I've learned quite a bit from you.
Plus you have some personal experience, too.
I do. Not as much as you.
Eh,
Not as much as you.
you're in the trenches.
The municipality zoning does not trump an HOA.
It does not.
Another thing I learned, and we'll talk about this on the show, now correct me if I'm wrong, are there no HOA neighborhoods in the city of Charlottesville?
Not that I'm aware of. There are condo associations, as you well know. 'Cause
Right.
You're part of one.
Yeah.
But to the best of my, and that's a great question for the feed. The best of my knowledge, well, no, I take
There
that
is one?
back.
Which one? Can anyone think of an
Lachlan Hill.
HOA?
Lachlan Hill.
That's in the city of Charlottesville.
Part of it is.
Okay.
I know, half of it's in Charlottesville and half of it's in Albemarle County.
Okay, is that the only one?
I don't, and typically these are not in cities, right? They're typically in.
Why is that?
Well,
This is good fodder for the show. Once we
yeah.
start.
It's mainly because of a space scenario, right? So normally homeowners associations, and we'll talk about this when we go live, but normally homeowners associations are part of large master plan communities, right? Larger projects. And matter of fact, most jurisdictions require it, right? Matter of fact, all that I know of in our area require homeowners associations because of the
Good morning, Johnny Ornalis.
Hey, Johnny, because of the properties and see, let's say, for instance, the roads, Lake Monticello. The roads are owned by Lake Monticello,
Right.
So the jurisdictions require homeowners associations for maintenance and taking care of common space and so forth and so on.
So realtors watching the feed, name the HOA neighborhoods in the city of Charlottesville. Anybody watching the feed?
Yeah.
Name the HOA neighborhoods in the city of Charlottesville. Judah, is yours in Albemarle County?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's right on the line.
Yeah, so you would just need to think about a large subdivision within the city limits, and I can't think of any off the top of my head. Condos for sure, townhomes associations without a doubt, but large planned urban development, PUD, that's what they refer to. I don't. I think Lachlan Hill may be the only one, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. If you guys can offer some intelligence on the feed, we would love to learn.
We need some
We
intelligence.
would love to learn. We would love to learn. We are ready to rock and roll, J-Dubs. Good Tuesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness. We are live in Charlottesville, across Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, and the world on the I Love Seville Network. We are presented by Yes Team Realtors. The Yes Team Realtors, a trusted name in the game. We are powered by Yes Realty Partners. Today's program, I think, is going to be extremely informative. We're going to be talking homeowners associations and the impact they have on growth, development, zoning, and the future of their respective neighborhoods. We will take a look at these HOAs from a city standpoint,
Sure.
in a county standpoint, and a Central Virginia-wide standpoint. Realtors that are watching the feed, jump in and
Please.
offer some perspective. Please. Judah Wickhauer is our director. If we could go to the studio camera, Judah, and let's welcome the distinguished gentleman to the show, Good Tuesday morning.
Good Tuesday. I love Tuesday mornings. I love our Tuesday show. It's just me and you being me and you. I love the heck out of it. So the subtext of this is the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
Yeah.
So with the realtors listening or anybody who's listening, chime in on what your good experiences, your not so good experiences, and your really ugly experiences with homeowners association. And we were chatting off air. I mean, I guess the mics were hot or whatever they were before we went live. I think Lachlan Hill is the one that I know of is the only homeowners association in the city of Charlottesville, because it's half in Charlottesville and half in Albemarle County. But so we were chatting off air before we came in here. This is a really tough. We got some feedback.
Yeah, we do from an agent.
Cool.
He says Mustache Dan Pettit.
There you go, Mustache Dan.
Huntley.
Oh, yeah.
Jefferson Park Avenue in Fry Springs.
That's right.
Huntley.
That's
Does
right.
Huntley have one?
Probably because I think Rick Beyer developed and built
He
that,
did.
if I remember
In fact, you know what?
correctly.
I got a buddy who has a rental in Huntley. I'm going to text him right now about this. Any other HOA neighborhoods in the city of Charlottesville?
Yeah, good, great topic. So the major difference, we were having this conversation off air, and this is a really high level topic to kind of, decentralize and kind of make easy to chat about. But the key reason why homeowners associations are around, or part of it, and they've been around for quite some time, is because when you do a planned urban development or some larger project, there are portions of it, the zonings typically require it, that will have, like, you have to have so much open space, you have to have so much parks, the roads may be owned by not by the state, so the counties and the jurisdictions require homeowners associations for the maintenance of these facilities, right?
Okay.
But the best way to think about a homeowners association, I was thinking about this driving in to think about it, is think about it as a little government, because that's what it really is.
Okay.
And it functions like a little government. And the reason that the state says when you buy a home or a condo or a townhome or anything like that in a homeowners association, you have 3 days to review the paperwork. So I just took a look at the Lakes package this morning. 700 pages.
700 pages?
700 pages.
Okay.
So keep in mind, Lake Monticello started in 1968.
Okay.
So this package has all the information from 1968 until today. So I kind of wanted to kick this off because most people kind of get into, the big thing that folks focus on in homeowners association is the rules.
Uh-huh.
Right? So there's certain rules that a homeowner association can make, as long as it doesn't violate or go up against the Property Owners Association Act. And we were talking about this off air. Coming this year, the state has added to this, 2021, as of July 1, that a homeowner association can't prevent you from growing marijuana on your property.
Okay.
There's rules, right? You can't have any more than 4 plants, right? It can't be visible from the street. It has to have your name on it, your contact information on the plant.
Okay.
And it has to have something that says on it that is for your personal use. So if you live in a homeowners association and you follow all these rules and a homeowner association says, no, you're not allowed to grow that, then you pull out this ordinance and say, whoa, time out. The state has said that I can do this. And why can the state do that?
Tell me.
It's a Dillon Rule state.
Okay.
So the state is the one that sets up all these regulations and rules. And we were talking off air, we were having this conversation, you and I, about the city's about ready, or hopefully, to adopt this missing middle thing. And you're of the opinion that subdivisions like Glenmore and these HOAs, they're going to
Redfields,
Mosby Mountain,
Mill Creek,
Lake Monticello,
yeah.
all these different homeowners associations, values will go up.
Yeah.
And you're spot on.
Yeah. Well, explain why.
Well, so what's going to happen is...
You help me get to this conclusion. I hope you understand that.
Yeah. Now I'm worried.
No. I mean,
well, what's going to happen is if you don't want to live in a...
super densely populated area.
Well, super densely is a bit
more
of...
densely populated area.
Than it is currently.
Yes.
then that's where you're going to start gravitating to. But most of the folks that will oppose a subdivision that is next to, say, one of these larger subdivisions, they actually think it decreases their property value, and that is completely the opposite. It actually increases your property value, maybe for the same reason. There's multiple reasons, but maybe for the same reason that we're talking about is, okay, well, Keith and Yona would prefer to live in, a lot that's a little bit larger than what's over there, then that's where I would gravitate.
Has a little bit more room for the Holy Spirit,
the
or
Holy
your son or
Spirit,
daughter,
or your marijuana plants,
or marijuana plants,
That's
or
right.
your son or daughter to play in the backyard.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It'll gravitate over to that way, but it's very important if you're going to buy a home in a homeowner association. All the realtors that we know that are in this community will make sure that this happens. But you do have 3 days. Once you receive this package, you have 3 days to review everything, and I refer to it as a nuclear get out of jail free card. Right? If you don't have to give any reasons. You read it. You don't like it. For whatever reason, you can terminate the contract, get your deposit, and move on. I will tell you, since 1987 and doing 60 to 80 transactions, most of them are in homeowners associations. A large percentage of them are. Very rarely somebody will pull the trigger and say no. So, in your opinion, what's the good? What's the good of? You live in one. I live in one. What's the good? What's the positive end of a homeowners association?
So a positive of homeowners association, you got clear-cut rules. You move in to the neighborhood.
Maybe you do, and maybe you don't.
Well, the ones I particularly do.
Yeah.
So yes, I just confirmed Mustache Dan Pettit with someone who has an investment property over there in Huntley. $60 per month in Huntley. It included lawn care and landscaping care, which was nice.
$6 a month?
$60 per month.
Okay, got it.
$60
That
per
makes
month.
sense.
So Huntley may be the only one that does not bridge with Albemarle County, because Lachlan Hill
It's split.
is split.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Willoughby is split. Does Willoughby have an HOA?
Yeah, I'm supposed to know all this.
Does Willoughby guys on 5th Street have an HOA? I'm texting my buddy right back while hosting a show. Thank you for sending me this information, because I don't want to be rude.
No, of course.
I think the HOA, to answer your question as well, doing multitasking here, I have clear-cut understanding for the rules. They take care of common area, snow removal. One of the HOA that I live in had some teenagers, in fact, that were speeding around the neighborhood, going too fast. So the HOA used money out of the coffers and set up radar.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And this radar actually catches your license plate. And then they send you a bill tied to your HOA.
Sure.
So if you go over, I think it's like 40 to 25, then you get popped for each mile over. The HOA also has a board of directors where you can go and talk to somebody about getting stuff done.
Sure.
Which I value that.
Sure. So again, it runs, everything you're describing is a little jurisdiction.
Yeah.
A little government.
It's like a little government.
Well, then again, that's the reason you need the 3 days, because what could happen is the board of supervisors, the board for whatever the HOA is, can change the rules, and you need to be aware of that process and how that process.
There's a yearly meeting.
There's a yearly meeting. They can go ahead and do this. So it's an interesting thing. But
Nikki Chambliss watching.
Hey, Nikki.
She's right. Willoughby is split between the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County.
There you go.
Nikki Chambliss says Willoughby has an HOA.
Okay.
So, Nikki, is that for the neighborhood in totality? I would imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is synonymous with Lachlan Hill.
Sure.
Lachlan Hill was part city and part county.
Correct.
Willoughby's part city, part county.
Correct.
So the only HOA that we can think of so far, Nikki Chambliss help us, other realtors help us, that is city only.
Is Huntley.
Huntley in Fry Springs.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But again, the feed will tell us, because they're a lot smarter than us on this. But just an example of the rules, right? Just to kind of explain a little bit how they can be interpreted. So at Lake Monticello, and I know Lake Monticello intimately, been there since 1987, did most of my building in there. So buried in the covenants and restrictions back in 1968, 69, there was literally in the covenants and restrictions said real estate agents and or builders could not be on the board. So I, as a realtor and a builder, could not be on the Lake Monticello board of directors.
Okay, so that is something that's a big to-do in Lake Monticello
And
right now.
that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, because there's a realtor that's not really practicing.
Well, so what happened was, so this
That
is
literally is happening now.
it's literally happening
Yeah.
now. So I wanted to use this as an example of how HOAs work and how they can kind of go I don't want to use the word sideways, but it's super important to do that. So the controlling documents, the way this works is always based off of the covenants and restrictions, and everything builds off of that. The covenants and restrictions are attached to the land. So the covenants and restrictions lay out how this was done. Well, this was written in 1968, 1969. In 1968, 1969, whoever wrote that at that given point in time said, me as a developer, me as a builder, I could not be on the board, on the Lake Monticello board. And I learned that the hard way. When I moved here in 1987, the board of Lake Monticello wanted to shut down from kids playing basketball after like dark.
Okay. Why? Because the noise?
The noise.
Okay.
People were upset about it, so forth and so on.
Kids having fun, staying out of trouble playing basketball.
Well, our chemistry's working, so stupid, which would be me.
You're not stupid.
Well, in this case, I was. So I went
You thought
up.
that was ridiculous, right?
It was totally ridiculous. Went up to the board, just like you were talking about, and said, look, this is wrong. So what's your option? Your option is let these kids wander around and get into trouble. Let's leave the lights on and do that.
Thank you.
And I literally got told to sit down and shut up because I was a builder and I had no rights to say anything, because buried into the covenants and restrictions was I could pay dues, which is what I did for 30-something years, 35 years on that, but I couldn't be on a committee, I couldn't be on the board, I couldn't get up and say anything, because buried in this document was that I could not do that. And of course, at the tender age of 20-something, when I moved there and bought it, I didn't read the 700
Sure.
pages.
No one reads them.
No,
I read
but
them.
I know you do.
Yeah.
And that was it. Next thing I knew. So fast forward to now, a real estate agent wants to run for the board. So the board, Lake Monticello board,
This is all over next door.
I know that.
Okay.
And it's all over my front door because
Yeah.
I live there. But to put some context,
After this, it could be all over the media. Get ready.
that's okay.
Okay.
Oh, we got cameras watching? I thought it was just me and you.
I know. I mean, this is a hot topic.
Yeah. So I'm fine.
Okay.
This I know intimately.
Okay.
So what happened was the board, Lake Monticello board, changed the policy. So remember, covenants and restrictions control it. Policies stack on top of that. So they changed the policy. Say, hey, we will now let realtors run for the board. What they never did is went back and changed the bylaws or the controlling documents, which, by the way, takes 2/3 of every lot owner in Lake Monticello. So that's not a majority vote. This is to change the original controlling documents takes 2/3 of 4,500 lot owners.
That's a lot.
They won't. 2/3 won't decide tomorrow's Wednesday. Nevertheless, change that. So what happened was this particular realtor, in order to run and go on it, had to suspend his license. He suspended his license.
What? So is that important? Well, he wasn't. I don't want to speak out of turn here. He wasn't doing a lot of business with the license.
He's a property management guy.
Okay, he's a property management guy. Okay,
Yeah.
but he can still do property management.
Yeah, I'm not going to get down that slippery road, but
He can't do buying and selling, but can still manage property.
the best of my knowledge, yes, but I'm not an expert in that.
Okay.
So somebody who is should chime in on that, because I don't want to make a statement of this, but I know for a fact that he, in order for him to run for the board and get on the board, he had to suspend his license or put it inactive, actually, in order to do that. So my point I'm trying to make is, as my dear friend Jerry Miller does, when you're going and ready to buy one of these, read the damn documents. You have 3 days for a reason. Read them, make sure you understand them. If you have any questions, ask a trusted advisor, ask your lawyer, or whoever's representing you, but these rules are there, and they're there for. So we were jumping around from good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, I can tell you some good, the bad, and the ugly too.
Yeah.
Since you're saying some good, the bad, the ugly of your neighborhood, should I do the good, the bad, the ugly of one of mine?
Well,
I mean, I guess it's my prerogative if I want to go down this road. And you know what? I will do it. I will do it for the
what's
sake
that
of the
police
show.
officer doing over
I
there?
will do it. I would do it for the sake of the. I will say it for the sake of the show here. So one of my rentals, the first place I lived in,
Yeah, got it.
Villas at Southern Ridge.
Got it.
Bart Fry, a developer out of Virginia Beach, purchased the villas at Southern Ridge down 5th Street Extended, Old Lynchburg Road.
Got it.
He converted from apartments to condos.
Got it.
Did this at the absolute worst time humanly possible.
Sure.
2008, 2009.
Yep.
We all know what happened then.
I have know a little bit about that.
You do. 2008, 2009. Oh, Mustache Dan Pettit. You were very much a part of this in the sales office at the time.
Sure.
Mustache Dan Pettit, 2008, 2009. Mr. Fry was unable to sell a large chunk of his units because no one was buying.
Sure.
So Mr. Fry chose to pivot his model, and instead of selling the condoed units, the individual ones, he said, I'm going to keep these as rentals and as investments.
Sure.
And because Mr. Bart Fry owns such a lion's share
Over 51%.
of, so you know too,
Yeah.
of the villas at Southern Ridge, banks are very hesitant
Yeah.
to lend money into this project. And you compound that with the fact that it's a condo on top of it.
Yeah. So that's called warrantable and non-warrantable.
Yeah.
Right. So a non-warrantable. So if
You should see how contentious the HOA meetings are
Sure.
when Mr. Fry is not there, but he sends representation, and this representation's like, you know what? I control this.
So to go back to the Lake Monticello, why builders and developers could not be on that, whoever, the wisdom at the time was to prevent exactly that. To prevent, now keep in mind, when I moved to Lake Monticello in 1987, you could have bought a lot for a couple grand, right? So what the intent was to keep Keith and Jerry from going in and buying 51% of the lots and then controlling the board. That was the intent at the time.
Well, speaking of that, the Macklin building,
Sure.
this building, is a condoed building.
But there's a huge difference. What's the big difference between a condo and, let's say, a homeowners association?
The dirt.
There you go.
Yeah, the dirt.
That's exactly the difference. So who owns the dirt here?
The association does.
Yeah. So the association got smart,
Yeah.
went out and bought the dirt, owns the dirt.
Yeah.
So you now on that board control both the dirt and the building.
Right.
Smart move.
Yeah, so because of the percentage ownership in the building that I have, tied, so the phone is blowing up right now. I know, I gotta be very careful right now.
My
very
new,
careful.
literally, so new rule, Smith's new rule, he puts fresh batteries in every show. So
Smith is good.
that little ding went in the middle of my head. Not because I'm hollow, but because of the hearing aids.
But to my point and to your point, it's not wrong. It's just reading the documents and then purchasing property when it becomes available.
Yeah.
It's not
Nothing nefarious.
nothing nefarious.
I like that word.
Yeah,
Nefarious. Huh?
nefarious. Anyone could have purchased them when they came up.
Yeah, totally.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just super important
To read the docs.
to read the documents.
and figure out what that percentage is. For this one here, it's 80% owner approval. So if someone owns over 80%, if someone
to
owns,
change the base documents.
yeah,
Got it.
So if someone owns 20.1% of the units,
It
that person
can block it.
controls the building.
They can block it. They
Yeah.
can block anything. Yeah. So it's interesting. You should read that. This is. I will tell you 99.9% of any new developments that are going to come up now, and we were talking off air about a couple that's planned out in Fulvana County. There's a couple coming up in Greene County. These rural jurisdictions in particular, let's say outside the city of Charlottesville, when you start reading their subdivision ordinances, they require an HOA. So just by function, they're going to require an HOA. And the reason is because the county doesn't want to be burdened with
maintaining the infrastructure,
maintaining pools, maintaining all that
roads,
stuff.
common area.
Correct. So they don't necessarily say you must have this, but they say to do a planned urban development, you have to have so much pools, you have to have so much active and open space, and oh, by the way, if you have that, you must have an HOA. So that's how they require it to go ahead and get it done. So it's an important thing to take a look at. Special assessments, you know anything about that?
I'm about to find out.
So one of the things that you want to read through on that is what is the process for special assessments. So again, Lake Monticello, that was a simple majority vote. Lake Monticello, and rightly so, I voted yes for it. They spent 4 or 5 years ago, maybe more than that, $4 to $5 million to upgrade all their facilities. Most people don't know this, but they rebuilt the whole clubhouse. They rebuilt the brand new pool out there. They rebuilt the pro shop. I'm not a golf. I don't play golf at all, but supposedly it's pretty stellar.
That drives value for the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't play golf.
It's not talked about often, right? But that's what happened. So there was a special assessment.
Do you have to be a member of the Lake Monticello Golf Club?
No, so
If you live in the neighborhood, you have access to the club?
Correct. You have to pay to play.
Okay.
Right. So as far as Lake Monticello is concerned, if you want to swim, there's an extra fee, extra fee for the pool. And like I said, we've been living there since '87. Other than going to swim meets, if I'm going to go swim, I'm going to go swim in the lake. Why go swim in a pool? But that's just me. We have police officers out there, which most HOAs do not have. We actually have
police force.
A police force.
Neighborhood force.
They're actually, I don't know what the term is.
Is that the only neighborhood in Central Virginia?
That I don't know the answer to.
Does Spring Creek have a police force? A neighborhood force?
No. They have a...
Nikki Chambliss?
They have a security. This is a...
they have a security what?
Like security force. Like a security... like security folks. They don't have an actual. I'm looking for the term, and somebody can help me out. The Lake Monticello Police Department have full powers of police powers.
Right.
They can arrest you. They can.
That's the only one in Central Virginia.
Well, it's interesting, and a shout out to Michael Guthrie. He taught me this. Reston, the town of Reston, is actually a homeowners association.
The town of Reston.
So Reston is an actual homeowners association, and it was created in, I can't remember what year, in the 60s or something like this. So it's actually the town of Reston. Everybody thinks it's a city. It's not. It's a homeowners association. And I suspect they have police, and that's in Virginia. But locally, the Lake Monticello is a certified cops. They have to go to training and all.
The neighborhood I grew up in, Williamsburg, has the same.
They have actually police officers.
Kings Mill.
Yeah.
In Williamsburg.
Sure.
And I got in a little trouble with the law when Johnny Law is a 16 or 17-year-old with those guys.
I don't believe that.
To the point they knew mom and dad's name, where I lived, my name, and said, "You again?" So I think that might be the only
Brought you
one.
by the scruff of your neck?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And you didn't fear the cops. You feared when you got home, right?
I didn't fear the cops. I feared when I got home.
Got home.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Get your tail kicked. Yeah, not the cops.
Well, for me, it's even worse.
Well, and the cops knew that.
Well, I grew up, where I grew up, my dad was a New York City fireman.
Yeah.
And cops and firemen.
I met Pop.
Yeah.
You told my 3-year-old son, now tongue in cheek, hit the road, Jack. And then the next thing I know, I see my son hitting the road with his hand.
You do not, you don't mess with Pop.
I don't mess with Pop.
Pop's 81, soon to be 82. You do not mess with Pop.
Neil Williamson, Wintergreen has its own police force. By the way, in the 1980s, we used to say it's not dead, it's just resting.
It's not dead, it's just resting. But Neil, confirm, I believe Reston is a homeowners association. It is not a...
Is that right, Neil? You're going to confirm that for us?
I would never doubt Michael Guthrie, and Michael Guthrie shared that with me, so I would believe that to be the case.
Jamie Turner's watching, Gordonsville's finest, Woodbury Forest's finest, Orange County's finest. I learned so much from this show. Thank you, men. I'm going to say thank you for watching, Jamie, right now. Yeah. Thank you for watching.
So the good is consistency, right? Right. So the good end of it is your rules. You know there's a process that you can follow.
This is weird to say. So I'm a libertarian.
Yes, I know you are.
The libertarian in me does not mind an HOA.
That's a little conflicting, isn't
right?
it?
That's like an oxymoron. But for me, it comes down to the roads, the snow is removed,
Yeah.
the common area is maintained.
Yep.
The older I've gotten with my kid now playing in the front yard, I'm mindful of people speeding.
Sure.
Before I had a kid, not really. Now I have a kid and I'm like, I don't want people speeding
Sure.
because he's in the front yard.
It's funny how it is when you start growing up. Huh?
Start growing up. Yeah, you start growing up. I mean, and the neighborhood's well taken care of.
Yeah, but
Now,
we
the downfall is what the realtor had to go through.
Yeah, so I look the reality, much like, so we just had an election at Lake Monticello, right? And you just like the city of Charlottesville, Fluvanna County, you elect a board. These folks are volunteers, right? There's a manager that manages it. So Lake Monticello is 4,500 rooftops times 2 is 9,000. Let's call it 10,000 plus folks. So it operates just like a city operates. It has its own management and so forth and so on and that stuff. But the reality of it is, it's a consistency thing, right? Everybody knows when you get it, you know what you're going to get, you know what the rules are going to be. The bad part of it is these rules tend to change as boards change.
Oh, Diane Marie Miller, auxiliary police.
Diane Miller's a rock star. I've known her for quite a long time.
Auxiliary police.
That's-
That must be the security in
Okay.
Spring Creek or a Glenmore, because
Got it.
Glenmore has security that patrols.
Correct.
That security cannot do anything.
Correct.
They cannot give you a ticket.
Yeah, yeah.
What they do if there's trouble, they get on their. They don't carry a gun.
Yeah.
They just call the police.
Yeah. So the Lake Monticello are actually certified, and there's a term I just can't. It's escaping me. Police officers. They, a judge has given them the authority, police powers authority, to go ahead and they can make arrests. They can do speeding tickets. They are armed, which is a great thing, right? And we pay $900 a year, I think, or something like this for it. You have your own police department, you have your own fire department, you have 5 different beaches. You can go water skiing, play golf if you want. It's so that's what you get in a homeowners association of that size. There's other ones that are much smaller, right? They basically the $60 a month version of it, where
All Huntley's doing is snow removal.
Yeah.
And they have like a teeny little area for like
Yeah.
kids to play in.
So what the controlling docs on that would say is basically everything that the city ordinance does is applicable to us.
Right.
Right. And Lake Monticello and some of the largest ones, the city ordinance or the county ordinance are the starting points, and they are allowed to be more restrictive on top of that. Again, it's another reason why you need 3 more days to do it. And to circle it back to why I think our conversation we were having just off camera and off thing, if this mixed use gets adopted, even in Fluvanna
What do
County,
you call it, mixed use?
not mixed use.
You don't like when I say upzoning.
Well, I'm going to walk that back because you're actually right. I researched that. It is technically upzoning.
Right. But the problem with upzoning from a branding standpoint is upzoning doesn't have the best stigma.
No.
So instead of upzoning, they got to find a new terminology, and that terminology should be zoning opportunities.
Well,
zoning options.
This is your world, brother. You come
zoning
up-
options.
you come
You
with that.
better not call it upzoning.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling it.
Well, but if I did some research and you read the definition, the way you're using it is spot on.
Yeah.
Upzoning means is you're upping the density
Yeah.
in some existing zoning ordinance. So R1, right, for
Yeah.
instance, is single family detached homes, right? And you're allowed to now increase the density, so you're upzoning or upping the density in it. When you said upzoning, it triggers to me something.
The stigmas.
Well, it triggers something a little bit more specific, a little bit more technical. A jurisdiction can do what's called spot zoning, and that when you say upzoning, that's what rolls in the back of my head, where the city of Charlottesville says you now, instead of being R1S, you are now whatever, commercial. Guess what? Your taxes just went up so forth and so on. So that's spot zoning. Upzoning is where the definition that I've read is where they take an existing zoning and they increase the density on it.
But I mean, I would think, and correct me if I'm
We got to
wrong.
come up with a better term than
Yeah,
that.
you gotta
It's
come
kind of
up with
like
a-
Portland's RIP.
Yeah, residential infill project.
Yeah. Or rest in peace.
Rest in peace, rest in power. So this is a good comment from Mustache Dan Pettit.
Makes the show better.
Also keep in mind that if you own a rental at Lake Monticello,
There you go.
you pay HOA fees as an owner of a property, and also you pay HOA fees for tenants.
Correct.
You pay double.
You do.
$1,107.
That's exactly right.
Does he have you have a property there, Dan, or are you just very familiar with the neighborhood?
Yeah. So, but there's a rental fee in it, which was
What do you think about that? The rental, that's a rental tax.
yeah. I think
It was done to dissuade renting.
no.
That was not why?
No.
Then why was it done?
So, remember this conversation about I need 2/3 to change anything? Well, it requires 2/3 vote to up the dues.
Okay.
Right? There's a dues there's an increase, a voting process to do that. So what had happened was the association couldn't get the owners to approve upcharging.
Okay.
Increasing the dues. But what they did is they read through their bylaws and read through their things, and they say, okay, I can change fees without asking permission. So that's what they did. There's also a property transfer fee, right?
So that's what I don't like about HOAs.
That's
That's the anti-democracy.
that's the ugly portion
That's
of
the
it.
ugly portion. That's when 4, 5, 6 people in a room. Let's call it that in my book.
Oh.
And if I'm not saying that's what happens in Lake Monticello, but if you put that in local government, that's called cronyism.
Well,
backroom dealing.
Yeah. So what it was is that you've got somebody trying to manage a budget, right? And we don't have enough money to manage a budget, and the only tool available to you is fees. That's the path you're going to take, right, on it. Whereas if the original bylaws or if the original controlling documents got changed to say, okay, dues or whatever particular issue, let's say this realtor, a real estate agent, if you can say it's a simple majority, can change the bylaws, which is never going to happen. I mean, they're structured intently to be very difficult to change, right? But again, these are 1969, 1968 thinking.
Yeah, they never saw, well, and not to their fault.
No, at
And
the
it's very
time.
difficult to see 50 years down the road.
You think?
Yeah, right.
We're trying.
same with this building.
We're trying to project the next 10 years in real estate. What's
Yeah.
going to happen in the market?
The docks for this one were done in 1982.
Yeah.
And when the docks were done, Mr. Macklin never anticipated someone owning more than 20% of the building.
So Lake Monticello originally was supposed to be a vacation community for
Yankees. Damn Yankees.
Northern Virginia. Actually, where I live in the development I built called the Acres was actually going to be an airstrip. So they've envisioned in 1968, 1969, Jerry fly on in his plane and go and do basically a vacation community. And then over time, it's changed. So these documents are intended to be living, right? They're intended to be changed. But as you start filling it in with sales, with people owning it, it becomes really difficult to change them because of the way they're structured. Another thing to keep in mind.
Comment from Ray Cadell. You want to hear?
Yeah. Oh, Ray's a rock star.
This is about the lake.
Yep.
He says the theory also, of course, is that some tenants don't take as good a care of the property as some owners
Correct.
in regards to the lake in this discussion.
Sure. So I'm sure there was multiple reasons, but part of it was the raised capital because they were getting a little tight on their budget, and they couldn't get dues increases passed.
Well,
so
you're
they were
basically asking the owners in the lake pay more money to this association, and most people were like, no.
They
You didn't get 2/3.
would you vote to up your taxes?
I mean,
I know I would, but
I
that's
would
just
not.
me.
This is what I would say to that. I would say, if I knew where the money was going
sure.
and it was used to improve the amenities in the neighborhood,
Sure.
then that is going to increase my property value.
So that's how that special assessment passed. They did a really good job. They have to hire.
They explained it.
They bring in somebody that does this for a living,
Yeah.
right? And they explained the benefits of it, and it passed, right? And it was just but a special assessment did not require 2/3 of the,
We had to do a special assessment in this building
sure,
because we're doing, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. This went in front of the bar. So if it went in front of the bar, it's public knowledge, right?
in front of the bar,
The,
defined bar.
The Board of Architectural Review.
Got it.
That's
Yeah,
public
yeah,
knowledge.
that's a public body.
Okay, so I'm not speaking out of turn.
You're not speaking out of
In
turn.
fact, if you go on the other side in front of the spectacle shop,
Yeah.
you'll see 5 different colors of paint on the wall.
Oh, really?
So we had to put those 5 different colors of paint on the wall for people to see what we were considering. So basically, the capital improvement project is a $500,000 capital improvement project. And it has 3 phases. Phase 1 is the outside, the courtyards, the canopies, repainting of the building, and the lobby. Phase 2 is the individual hallways. And then phase 3 is some like minor stuff. And it's chopped up so you can spread out the special assessments.
Sure.
And I had to explain to the owners as the president, this is what we're going to do. And you have to explain, if we make the curb appeal better, it's going to make you more money.
Yeah,
And this is how.
yeah. You know, it's a little town, it's a little city, right? You know, every time Albemarle County comes up against budgets and tax season and all this stuff, you know, it's money makes people funny, right? You know, and if I have to pay more, you know, it's just this process. But the way they got the special assessment approved is they did a really good job explaining it and the assets of it. You know, the buildings and the facilities were 40 years old at that particular point in time. You know, some of them were frankly unsafe, and it got passed. And it's an absolutely gorgeous. If you ever wander around Lake Monticello, take a look at these facilities. They upgraded all the parks. You know, the playgrounds were in serious need of help. So they really got smart and got in front of it. But I think we had like I can't remember because Yona does the books at the house, but I think it was like a $90 one-time assessment or some dollar amount that I can't remember what it was to go ahead and do that. But, you know, so the good is consistency. The bad is, you know, rules tend to change on you. And then the ugly is this whole thing about it takes a lot to get a realtor on the board. It takes 2/3 majority to do that, and the likelihood of that ever happening is pretty ugly, right? That's going to be a tough process to do that.
So overall, if managed correctly, a lot of good.
Without a doubt, it increases your property value and all that stuff. It's just, I guess the whole reason I wanted to have this conversation with you was what kicked us off talking about
The upzoning.
The upzoning, yeah.
Do you think that's going to happen? Well, we think the upzoning is going to happen. We both do, because we think that we've
Well, it
covered
has
this
to.
on previous shows.
It has to.
You're saying it has to. Why?
It has to happen because we're 5.5 million units short.
Okay. Well, it doesn't. We hope it happens, but it doesn't have to happen.
Well,
It's still going to need 3 out of 5 people saying yes.
That's
now,
correct.
Now, we've done some predictions and think that we know Michael Payne's not going to say no to this. We know Nakia Walker, if she's reelected in November, Nakia Walker's not going to say no to this.
sure. Well, I don't know for a fact. When I say have to, in my opinion, if we don't increase density, what's going to happen? So you're an advertising guy, right?
If you don't increase-
If I don't advertise, if I don't market, if I don't hire Jerry Miller to manage my
Your business
brand,
is not going to grow.
nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Your revenue is going to go down. Well, something will happen. You'll lose money.
You'll lose money.
Because your competitor's going to hire me and we're going to take your market share.
So if we don't increase density, if we don't figure out how to fix that 5.5 million units short nationwide, right, which is going to take us, even on the tracks we're going, 10 to 15 years to turn around, everything's just going to get more expensive,
Right.
right? We're going to look a little bit too much like us.
Yeah.
So and everything that
I'm all for this.
I
I'm
know
all
you-
for this.
I know you are.
I just want to make sure that the schools and the
Yeah.
roads and the public transport and the police and the EMTs are
Sure,
considered.
sure.
I don't want to have a Mountain View Elementary situation.
And they have to be, right? So if you take a look at how this was done in other jurisdictions around the country, there are these boxes you need to check, right? So if the school is over in this particular district, wherever it is, if the school is overcrowded, it doesn't have any room, and it's projected that this would cause it, then it doesn't happen. That project can't happen. So you have to check all these boxes. It has, and I'm just rattling off some conditions in some other, like Portland and Seattle and Minneapolis and Tacoma and Arlington's in the process of doing it. It has to be so many feet away from a bus line. So, the theory is it doesn't impact the roads. But you'll find out when you research this and just do a simple Google search on it and take a look at these other places that done this, all the disasters that everybody predicted at the moment hasn't happened. It's only helped things, right? More, to quote Neil, if you create more housing for all, it helps all people, in my opinion, for what it's worth.
How do you think Albemarle County is going to respond to this?
Yeah, I think Albemarle County will run
think-
run suit with them. I think.
You do?
I really do. I think it'll be a little bit behind. It'll be in the urban ring.
Uh-huh.
It'll be the same rules and conditions, but
So Albemarle County would restrict it only to the urban ring?
I don't know.
You're spitballing.
We're just crystal balling here,
Okay,
right? But
okay.
I would suspect.
What do you think, Neil Williamson? You're watching.
Yeah, I would suspect it would be in their growth areas, right? So each jurisdictions have designated growth areas.
Sure.
So in these designated growth areas, you do that. But to talk about that, let's assume that this is going to happen in Crozet, right? It can't happen in Old Trail because Old Trail is an HOA,
Yeah.
right? So it's
It can't happen. Well, okay, help me understand this. You're smarter than I am here.
no,
Help me understand this.
I wouldn't say that, but
Urban Ring, Mill Creek, Lake Renovia, Foxcroft, Red Fields, Mosby Mountain,
Okay.
Oak Hill Farm,
got it,
all in the urban ring,
got it.
all HOA neighborhoods.
Yep.
Can't happen there, right?
Well, because they're master plan communities, right? So they've already have some sort of master plan. Typically, they're proffered.
Okay.
Typically, they're recorded.
Okay.
Typically, it talks about in the covenants and restrictions, right? Very clearly how each residential lot can be developed.
Okay.
Right? So when you go through this 700 pages or 200 pages or 20 pages or whatever,
So it definitely cannot happen in those neighborhoods.
they would, not's a strong word, they would have to change their controlling documents.
So the HOAs would have to.
So let me finish
Okay,
this train
sure,
of thought,
sure,
if you don't
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
So they typically have architectural review boards, right? So you have the county's building codes requirements,
Okay.
and then on top of that, they have additional restrictions or additional requirements. They have their own ARBs, right? Architectural review, or BARs, whatever that stands for in that end of it. So they have these rules and they have these things, and the essence of them is buried in the covenants and restrictions. So you would peel away all the rules, all the regulations, and go immediately to Huntley's or whatever subdivision it is, controlling documents. And if the controlling document says whatever city of Charlottesville, whatever Albemarle County says is allowed, then fine, it potentially could happen there. 9 times out of 10, that's not the case.
Right, because the HOA wants control to
Well,
supersede the
So
municipality.
it's interesting. Who wanted the control first? Just a word that starts with a D.
Tell me.
The declarant, the subdivider, the developer.
I'm really learning a lot on this.
So that's how this starts. So Keith and Jerry are going to buy a piece of property. Doesn't matter, Albemarle County.
Yeah.
Pick an Albemarle County, and we open up the covenants. We open up the zoning ordinances, and today, right? And we say we're going to do a PUD, Planned Urban Development, or whatever it is. So all these projects you've been watching very closely, right? The name of the one over Forest Lakes,
The RST.
RST,
Yeah,
right?
That's the developer.
So RST, the developer, opened up all the documents that they had. They looked
Okay.
at a piece of property. Keith walked up and said, "Guys, this is a great piece of property. You should do something with it."
Okay.
And they have all these documents that are vision documents, right? Which are the Route 29 plan, the comprehensive plan. And everybody looks at that and they go, "Okay, that's cool. We like that. Okay, let's open up the subdivision ordinances for the master plan." And they read it. And then what they do is they say, "Okay, our interpretation of that, all these ordinances, is this plan." And they go through the process, right? They submit it to the county reviews it, they go to the planning commission reviews it, comments come back, they amend it. In this case, it got approved, and now it's going to move forward to the Board of Supervisors. And oh, by the way, that's just one step. Now they got to go through site plan. If they get past the Board of Supervisors, they have to go through the site plan process. They go through all that process, right? And now they have, and if you remember listening to it, they kept on saying proffered plan, proffered plan, proffered plan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means that this plan that eventually gets approved, right, is proffered. So if there is 120 townhomes in there, and all of a sudden you want to change those 120 townhomes, to quads. You now need to go back through the whole process through the county.
To zero?
You have to go
The
all the way.
first inning.
It's a proffered plan. It's an approved plan. There's some variants that you can do to it. What they call the zoning administrator has certain, can make certain. If I'm getting in the weeds, stop me.
No. I'm learning. I am learning.
They have certain abilities to change stuff, right? But typically, layout, number of units, the type of units are etched in stone. That's part of the reason why the process is so laborious. Because once it gets approved, that's it. Now, they can go change it. In order to change it, the bylaws are going to have to change. But remember this term declarant?
Yeah.
All right. So
Wouldn't the declarant want to distance him or herself from the municipality immediately?
no. So what happens is the declarant is the person who does the subdividing.
Sure, yeah.
We're done. We're finished. HOA's created, and it gets controlled on it. The declarant typically controls the HOA up until a certain amount of units are sold.
Are sold, sure.
And then the declarant hands it off.
Right. To once then the units are sold, then you have the association having control.
And it varies, right? Some people, like the ones I've always wrote, as a declarant, I was always in control until the last unit was CO'd.
Okay.
Right?
I'm with you.
Even if I handed it over to a homeowners association, because I, as a declarant,
You want to control.
wanted to control what happens there.
That's what I'm saying. So wouldn't the declarant, when writing the and dude, I find this fascinating.
There's people watching, right?
Neil's got comments for you
Well,
that
I
we
can
will get to
imagine.
here.
Neil will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Neil, please correct us if we're wrong, and by us, I mean gentlemen here. I'm just sitting here listening.
No, we're part of this.
Wouldn't the declarant, when creating the documents, want to say in the language of the documents, this HOA, these bylaws, supersede anything the local municipality is going to...
No. That's what's in there. Without
Yeah.
a doubt. That's in there.
What declarant would say these HOA bylaws are malleable and adapt to the municipality?
So it depends on the subdivision.
Because that declarant's not super bright if he does that, or she does that.
Well, it depends on the project. So we're talking we're talking large projects. You can do a small project that has a private road, right? Somewhere out in the county.
But why would you ever, as the declarant...
And in that case, you just want out as fast as possible.
Okay.
Right.
All
You
right.
want
I see
out
it,
as
that one there.
you want out as fast as
Okay.
possible, right? Because you want out as fast as possible. You want to hand that road over as fast as possible.
There you go.
But when you're in a subdivision that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lots, right? There's this
You
whole
got to hedge your risk, and by hedging your risk, you're maintaining control.
well, controls are maybe a strong word. You want to be able to pivot as the market changes.
Okay, so maybe control's not the right. You want autonomy.
Control is a good word, but it's not in a negative sense, because what you want to do is change. So one of the problems with Lake Monticello was in the beginning, in the 70s, when this all happened, the developer got rid of control real quickly and handed it off to the association. And so what happened is they couldn't amend the bylaws at that point. So the developer, and I believe it was Faulkner, if I remember correctly, and Neil will correct me if I'm wrong. But in any event, so it's this kind of balance of it, but it's from a purchaser's perspective, and if you're in a new subdivision, you really want to read these things closely and seek advice. But I'm curious on what Neil's take on things if I'm going sideways on him.
He says, watch the Planning Commission tonight and see how Crozet's master plan plays out, and how residents, many in a neighboring HOA, feel about increased density.
Yeah.
That neighboring HOA has got to be Old Trail.
Yeah.
You're alluding to Old Trail. Is that not right, Neil Williamson? So he says, watch the Planning Commission tonight and see how Crozet master plan plays out and how residents in Old Trail feel about increased density. So if I'm reading between the lines here, and Neil, you have the sophistication of a Rolex watch. You're very sophisticated, my friend. He's basically saying, and I'm going to be very direct, that Old Trail's vehemently opposed to increased density in Crozet. That's what he just said right there.
Yeah, and
he just said it very sophisticated.
Yeah, but this is part of the process, right?
Right, and you can't necessarily blame Old Trail.
It's part of the process.
It's part of the process.
There's a subdivision that is being planned, actually by me at Lake in Fluvanna County, and part of the process is I got a notice because I'm within a certain distance of the thing that a subdivision is coming up, right? So it's part of the process to go through that, and it's also, as Neil once said, and I use the term non-obligatory document.
Whoa.
Well,
let's get that into 7th grade language.
Yeah. So the comprehensive plan is not a binding document.
Okay.
The zoning ordinance is the binding document. So if this gets passed, but the zoning ordinances don't support it, right? So the comprehensive plan can say, and I'm really spitballing here because I don't know the specifics of it, that you can do 1,000 units on a 100 by 100 lot.
This is Breezy Hill right here as a good example.
Yeah. Let's just say that's what the comprehensive plan says.
Yeah.
You're
spitballing.
I'm exaggerating big time.
Okay.
But if the zoning ordinance only says I can put one on there, the comprehensive plan really doesn't mean anything. So that's why in the conversation we had with Sean and Neil, and Sean in particular was articulating this. I'm using big words today.
Yes, you are. And you're using them accurately.
Huh?
Rock.
Huh, rock. I did reading today.
You prepped, dude. You brought your A game.
I prepped today.
I can tell.
Because I knew this is a tough topic. We're not talking about rainbows and puppies.
Yeah, we're talking about real stuff.
Real stuff here. Yeah. Real stuff that affects.
Real talk. We're talking real talk.
Real talk. Yeah, there you go.
This is real talk.
Look at you. Huh? Look at you. So now I lost my train of thought. Thanks.
Documents that are an obligation.
Yeah. So the Sean, thank you. So what Sean was saying is this, and Neil too. This is great. Get involved in this thing. I'm referring back to the city land use plan and the city comprehensive plan, just to kind of bring it away from Crozet back to Charlottesville. But it's the same for any jurisdiction. It's a vision. It's what we want to be. It's what you guys want to grow up to become. But if the zoning ordinance doesn't support it, so that's why the city council has hired the same firm. And once that's done, they're going to migrate into the zoning process. And that's going to take a long time because now you've got to, it's much like changing the bylaws at Lake Monticello, right? It's a long, laborious process of a bunch of give and take to get through that. Then once that's done, much like the developer did or is attempting to do in Forest Lakes, and again, its name escapes. RST, thank you.
Yeah.
They just kind of crossed the first step, right? Which is they actually just crossed the first step of the first step.
They crossed.
Just the planning commission.
Right.
Partially.
Well, they had to go back to the planning commission.
Well, that's typical in a large project like that.
6-1, Randolph opposed.
A large project like that. Frankly, just to have one deferral is kind of unusual. It's usually one or two, a couple, because what happens? They go back, they tweak it, they go back, because it's kind of you don't really know how everybody feels about it until they start telling you about it.
I got a message from Scott Elliff.
Refresh my memory. That is the gentleman that you
Forest
interviewed.
Lakes, yeah.
You interviewed, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, he just texted me right now. He's watching the show.
There you go.
Yeah. That's what he said, now the real work begins. We're ready.
Well, he's right.
That's what he just said.
So he's right. And I'm not picking sides on this.
Yeah.
I would tend to lean on the it's a good project side, but that's just my personal opinion on that end of it. But he's 1,000% right. 100% right. That was just the Planning Commission. Now it goes before the board, and the process starts all over again. There will be public hearings, right? A little bit different, though, right? On the planning side, the developer can request deferrals. They can't do that on the Board of Supervisors side. So that has to come from the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors has to give the deferral to the applicant. I know a little bit about this, been doing this for 30-something years on that end of it. But I suspect what will happen with that is it'll go through a couple iterations, a couple of public comments. As much as the folks at Forest Lake may not want to hear this, but ultimately I think it will get approved on that end of it.
Mustache Dan Pettit.
But that's only the beginning of the beginning.
Yeah. We're in like the second inning.
You're not even in that.
I mean, they got through PC.
No, yeah, they got to a PC, but
PC's out now, right?
yeah, PC's out. They're done.
PC.
Well, that's not true. The Board of Supervisors can kick it back to the PC.
Okay. But PC 6-1 said Board of Supervisors.
And I'm not suggesting any of this is going to happen. I'm just talking about process.
Yeah.
It could happen. The Board of Supervisors can look at this and say,
Planning Commission is PC for those that just asked on the fee. Sorry about that.
Yeah. This is statutory, right? This is not this particular case, right? The Board of Supervisors can send it back to the Planning Commission. And it has happened before.
Neil, you're a good man. I like Neil.
Love Neil.
Neil, I like your.
Every time I listen to him, I get a little spark. Sometimes we might not agree on stuff, but
I like Neil's zingers.
Well, he's
when he comes on the show and he zings me.
Oh yeah.
I like when he zings.
I like when he does because that takes the pressure off of me.
I like Neil a lot, and Neil, I sincerely mean that. He says, "How do you think the rezoning bureaucracy impacts housing affordability?"
Oh, we know it does.
Yeah, the rezoning bureaucracy. So he's throwing us a softball question
for
us to hit a grand slam. So we basically are in the Major League Baseball home run derby, and he's throwing us 50-mile-an-hour pitches right now for us to hit out of the park.
Really
big ball. Big balloon. So we know. Thank you, Neil, for that. You want to take that and hit the grand slam and look really good?
It seems like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. That's what Neil just did.
Well, to take Neil's lead and move forward with it, National Association of Home Builders just put out a report a month ago. I think it was a month ago, actually, and Neil can put it in the feed on that end of it. On the national average, and I'm rounding numbers, the average new construction at that time
24%
was 400,000.
Yeah, this is a startling statistic.
100,000 of that was for regulatory expenses. So
I talked to I'm not going to say his name. You know who I'm talking about?
Okay.
The builder?
Oh, yeah, got it.
No, I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And he says that is under.
Yeah, no,
that is low.
That's average. That's country, nationwide.
For what he's doing. He says that is low.
That's nationwide. Yeah, and it's a balance, right? So the process, RST, is that what it is? Mm-hmm.
RST, can you get a name?
Oh, dude. I researched it. I researched it this morning because I knew this was going to come up. What's the name of the subdivision? Does anybody know the name of it? Because normally the application has to have a name of a subdivision. I have no idea what it is. And again, I don't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
My view always is
RST Development is the name of the company.
Got it. So we're short 5.5 million units. The inventory is low. More is going to help the inventory end of it. But there is a process we have to go through and all this stuff. And we will find out at the end of the day how that process goes. My prediction, like I said, is I think, particularly the fact that they wrapped it around affordable housing would be very difficult, I think, to fail at. I may be wrong. I may be eating my words here in a little while.
Well,
but-
now, okay, and Scott basically mentioned this on the show, so I'm not speaking out of turn
And I
here.
believe he's from my part of the world. Isn't he a Yankee too? I heard a little bit of a Yankee accent.
I don't know that for sure. So I think the next step that is going to be utilized, and I'm not speaking out of turn here. He basically mentioned this on the show. The next step that is going to be
I
utilized.
like your new cup.
Thank you. Is the compare? My wife got this for Father's Day.
I like it, brother.
It's a Yeti that's branded.
I like it,
This
man.
is what we need to get for yes.
YRP?
YRP.
Got it.
So the Yeti is phenomenal.
Yep.
It's
I
30.
I took you off topic. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I know. You got two ADD guys. Butterfly.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
What movie is that from?
Is it Waterboy?
No.
What is it?
No, Up. Come on. Up. The cartoon Up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, little Trey. Trey ain't there yet.
He basically said he was going to compare and contrast the process to Breezy Hill and what the Glenmore conglomerate was able to do with Breezy Hill.
Yeah,
And he says that's a comp. And what you guys did, this is what you did with Breezy Hill.
it's not the same project though.
That's the thing I said to
No,
him.
it's not the same project.
Different project.
Different project.
And different affordability opportunities.
Not and you
That
know,
was my response to him.
yeah, it's a different project. It's set up differently. I don't know enough. I haven't researched it enough to dig into it, but it's two very different projects.
Mustache Dan Pettit has a zinger for you.
I'm
Would you
waiting.
expect anything else?
No, I'm anticipating greatness here.
Do you think, can you predict what the zinger is about you dropping all this knowledge?
No.
You can predict it.
Yeah, it's probably not flattering.
He said he learned all this from Yona.
Of course.
He learned all this from Yona.
See, you think these hearing aids are for me to hear?
She's talking
She's
at
talking-
YRP office right now. This is what you say, Keith.
Literally, these hearing aids are not because I got my ass blown up in 1983 and when I was in the Marine Corps. This is Yona talking to me.
This is what you say, Keith. He just can listen really quickly and speak immediately. He says Belvedere has the garage with rental unit above.
Sure.
They have HOA. You
Correct.
could do ADU in Albemarle County and other areas
Correct.
if approved. How
Correct.
did Belvedere do that?
No, it has. So Albemarle County has an ADU ordinance. There's certain criteria you need to follow, and the big, and I kind of intimately know a little bit about auxiliary dwelling units because I'm part of a national cohort.
Arguably one of the experts in the area.
I
ADUs.
wouldn't say that.
I'm
but,
saying it.
But no, I'm part of a national cohort that's trying to standardize this missing middle, and it's happening. It's happening slowly around the company. It's happening. It will happen. The YIMBYism movement was yes in my backyard versus no, not in my backyard. NIMBYs in it is growing, but in any event, here's the major roadblock. My hearing aid's back kicked in now again. I can actually hear what I'm saying. If I start yelling at you, I apologize.
Okay, you haven't done it yet.
They haven't been adjusted yet. So the major differences of the ordinance that Albemarle County and Charlottesville has versus these other places where it's been super successful, in my opinion, we have an owner-occupied requirement. So that means you have to own the property, own the main home in order to add an ADU to it. And what has happened, what they found out in these other jurisdictions, Minnesota, all these Midwest and Western states, that when they had that in there, their foreclosure rates went through the roof. And the reason was that these are not easy to do. These are not easy to navigate. These are difficult to navigate the ordinances, right? Because there's a detailed ordinance of what you need to do in order to do that. And what was happening is they were borrowing money to do this. And not only the difficulty of doing it, right, and missing the mark on construction costs and missing the mark on all that stuff, it's also the management end of it. They would let, hey, Jerry, no problem, you can go do this. Well, Jerry's not paying you. Well, hold it, now I can't evict you, but I got to pay my mortgage payment. Okay, I'm getting a phone call from somebody in my hearing aids.
And you're getting blown up here with questions.
I
here.
think I'm in trouble now. Hold it. How come the
Squirrel!
no. This is from the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office now. No, it's not. It's Mrs. Smith going, shut the freak up.
No.
But yeah, so it's I maybe got myself in a ton of trouble today.
Well, no. You want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
Friday, we had a fabulous interview with Detective Michael Wells.
Oh yeah, how'd that go? I didn't get a chance to watch it. How'd that go?
Very well.
Good.
And throughout the interview,
Your phone was ringing. I was ringing.
his.
Oh, his phone. Oh,
We'll leave it at that.
Not in a good way.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That was only kidding. That was one of those. Your vehicle's warranty is expired.
Yeah, right. Are you getting bombarded with those?
Dude, tell me, you're a smart guy on this stuff. How am I now getting text advertisements? This is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's overwhelming.
I mean,
I don't have
on
the
my
answer to
cell
that.
phone number, I am getting just text advertisements.
I don't have.
How does that happen?
So Mustache Dan Pennett's giving you props now,
Thank you, Mustache Dan.
and you have.
It must be my mustache he's
You have a
talking
couple of car presidents watching here.
Oh boy, I'm in trouble now. I think I just got kicked off the board.
Mustache Dan Pettit, Keith has taken the time to learn about ADUs. Hats off to his
Thank you.
knowledge on
Thank
this
you.
topic. I would say, and I'm going to straight up say this, I'm going to embarrass the man a little bit. The foremost expert on ADUs in this area,
I wouldn't go there.
this gentleman, I'll throw a little Neil Williamson in the mix as well.
I've been blessed because what I do for a living and how I help people find homes and move into some beautiful homes or sell homes. What I do for a living gives me the opportunity with time. But the real reason is, and Dan is right.
Because you care.
Well, Mrs.
And-
Mrs. Smith lets me do this. Look, I wouldn't be able to do what I do here with you twice a week. I wouldn't be able to fly out to Portland to sit down in a meeting or Seattle or whatever that I don't get paid for. Pay for that whole trip to go out there.
You took money out of pocket.
Oh, absolutely.
Thousands of dollars.
Absolutely. Without Mrs. Smith
Saying,
allowing
go ahead and
me.
do it.
And allowing.
And solo. By yourself.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I had some team members come with me. This whole
Nicole's watching. Scroll.
Nicole's a rock star.
Yeah.
By the way, congratulations. Teamed up. Shout out to Nicole. Talk about doing it right. And I'll invite Nicole anytime she wants to come on. Teamed up with Habitat for Humanity
I saw that.
to make some magic happen.
Yeah.
So that is how it's done, folks. That's how you do this. Just look at how she did this, how Nicole did that, open up that playbook. That's how this is done. And she's not doing something without some projected revenue at the back end of it.
Well, I know. She's running a business.
Right.
It's called social entrepreneur, conscious capitalism.
There you
You've
go.
got to do that.
There you go.
Yeah.
But she's doing the right thing. She is doing a project.
So I got the specs if you want me to relay them. It's on her Twitter.
Sure.
So I'll read it verbatim from her Twitter.
It's funny. There's only two people I follow on Twitter. It's you and Nicole.
You follow Neil.
Oh, Neil. That's right. I forgot about
Yeah.
Neil. I always forget about him.
She says our 999 Rio Road project will have 25
Yeah.
units. And by partnering with Habitat for Humanity Charlottesville, of that 25 total, 24% will be affordable.
So what's the price? What's the AMI price point? In other words,
let's see.
if I remember correctly, I think they're trying to hit somewhere around 30%, maybe 40. I may have that wrong. Nicole,
She says the original hope was that we'd provide affordability ourselves by lowering the
Yeah.
per unit cost of land,
Yeah.
i.e. increasing density. That dream took a big hit when our project stalled before the Board of Supervisors, and we had to cut density by 40%. I still thought we might be able to build a few small, approximately 800 square foot homes, 270,000 a home, that's 80% AMI. After COVID-19 collapsed the market for office space, small part of the project, and an increasing cost of materials, we had to shift to partnering with a nonprofit to achieve affordability. From grants, donations, they subsidize costs where we cannot.
that's exactly right.
So who to partner with? In Charlottesville, the choices are really Habitat for Humanity, Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust,
Thank you, Nicole.
I hope New Hill Development Corporation comes on the scene, but they are still in the infancy stages.
Yep.
Shocks me that they're still in the infancy stages. I'm not knocking anyone, but it's been a while that New Hill's been around.
Yeah,
Then she continues about the difference between Habitat and TG. You want to hear it?
yeah, I know what
Yeah, you
Nicole and I have had this conversation. The difference, but go ahead.
She says, for the difference between Habitat and the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust. Habitat eligibility equals 30 to 60% AMI.
That's exactly right.
Average 40% AMI. TJCLT, Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust eligibility up to 80% AMI.
Correct. We're currently closer to 60 to 80%. But this goes back to my dear friend Robert Liberty, silver bullet, silver buckshot. Nicole is, and what the project she's doing and what the land trust does and other folks are doing, or just little buckshots, right? But it takes a village. It takes all these different little pieces of this pellet to fix this, to make this go forward. And she's a rock star. Absolutely. Hats off to her. It is. I've been in that position. It is hard to beat your head against the wall to try to do good things. And they've accomplished that and they moved on. But we were talking about earlier about this $100,000 or whatever. What Nicole just explained is part of the reason why it's so. So if it would have got approved with a larger density, and Nicole can chime in, I believe that
Tagged her.
Excuse me?
I just tagged her.
Okay. I believe that the a number of affordable units would have been much higher.
That's what she
Matter
said.
of fact, I'm confident of that.
Neil, case study not on her project. Density originally proposed 46 units. Density approved 28 units.
Yeah.
Density lost 18 units.
So that these projects are always wrapped around the D word. Density, density, density. And then you have to put the rest of the pieces of the puzzle together. And what time is it?
You're looking at 11:33.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. First time I looked too.
Yeah. Thank
It
you.
was an hour and 15 minutes in, but this one is we got some flexibility.
Yeah, it's raining out. I don't want to melt.
It's pouring.
Yeah, I got my umbrella though.
That's good. A little rain's not going to hurt us.
No, it might mess up my hair though.
That's what I worry about when it rains too. We got to find a Tresemme.
Wasn't that funny on Friday?
Yeah.
Our chemistry was the same.
Yeah, when they asked us to put on the hat, we both looked at each other. No, we're not going to put on the hat.
That's not
dude.
going to happen.
We put on the apron, and Paul Cooper really loved when you put on the ascot.
Yeah, I haven't watched the show. I got to take a look at pictures and see how that came out.
It was good. We actually went to Dairy Market on Saturday
Cool.
and had a fantastic time.
We're going out to dinner there tonight.
Yeah, you're going to go to Wilson's New?
Yep.
South
And Central.
South Central.
South Central. Got
Have
it
you
back.
been there?
We went to a little pop-up there and had a sausage and a glass of rosé, which was excellent. It was actually a shout out to Chris Henry. Some of his grapes were in that rosé, which was really, really good.
Really?
Really,
So I'm going to
really,
see Henry's grapes in the rosé.
really, really good. I'm looking forward to have a little bit of it tonight.
What'd you make of the open-air container yesterday?
Yeah.
2 people asking for more information. 3 people greenlit it right away. Can you name the 3 people on council who
Yeah,
greenlit it?
I followed it. I'm going to defend. I'm going to just.
Yeah, you're going to go to bat for MP here. Michael.
I'm going to go to bat for Michael.
Okay. Why not go to bat for the mayor here?
Or the mayor. I would go to bat. I would
Okay.
go to bat for whoever asks for more information.
Okay. Both them. I had a little
Yeah, I know.
toe-to-toe with him.
Yeah, I know that. I
Yeah.
watched it.
I didn't. Okay, I'll go, then you go.
No. You go. You
Okay.
started. So let then I'll
20%
react.
vacancy rate.
Yeah.
The mall is a shadow of its former self.
But nobody said. I can't speak for the mayor, but I did follow. I did actually listen to it. Went back and listened to it. Mr. Payne never said he wasn't in support of it. He just wanted some more information.
How you present it
Yeah.
and how it was characterized.
Yeah.
Perception is reality.
I get it.
And the perception is Snook, Hill, and McGill greenlit. Let's make it happen
So
immediately.
that's all you need.
Well, that's 3 of 5.
Yeah.
And you got majority there. McGill, her brother, Lauren Mendoza, one of the co-owners of Lampo.
Yeah.
Snook, small business owner.
So let's turn this back to the subdivision we just talked about, which please name the damn thing in Forest Lakes. Generally, these things, Mr. Miller.
Yeah.
And you'll find out once you're on the Board of Supervisors. Generally, these things never fly through in the first reading. They never fly through on the first reading. So all they were looking for, had some more questions, ask some more information. I think ultimately it's going to get adopted.
Me too.
And I think ultimately it'll be close to a 5-0, maybe
I think it's going to be 4-1.
maybe 4-1.
You know who I think is going to be the
Yeah, it'll be the mayor, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is ultimately will get passed. I think some of the questions that Michael was asking are legitimate, right? And we can't do this now, right? Because
July 1, we can do it.
it's not July 1.
July 1
According
is
to my
in-
watch, it's the 22nd.
Hold on. Do you know the knuckles thing? So the top knuckles, January is 31 days.
I'm just looking at my Apple
January,
Watch.
February, March,
Says-
April, May, June. So there's 30 days in June. I just did the knuckles thing. So we have less than 8 days left till this July 1. Every day that ticks by.
How did I know we were going to talk about this
Well, I
today?
mean, it means a lot to you.
It means a lot to me, yeah.
Every
It
day
mean-
that ticks by, and this isn't a green lit right away, means that these restaurateurs have to carry more debt service payment.
I agree. I'm not,
And they're on the brink of collapse.
brother, I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing with any of what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing that I've told you publicly and privately, I think it's a great idea. I'm just defending Michael and the mayor's need for
Due diligence?
we can call it due diligence, which is what they should do, right? But at the end of the day, I think this will come back in July. When's the next board meeting? The council meeting.
So it's what, once a.
Neil would know that.
Yeah, what's the next council meeting, Neil Williamson? Can you let us know that? And let us know your thoughts on that, Neil Williamson.
So it would be under, I think it was under new business, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Office of Economic Development presenting the concept to council.
Correct. So it was so let's stop for a second.
Okay.
It was a presentation.
Right.
So as one who chairs a bunch of these things, right? So when I read the agenda, I knew they weren't going to take a vote, right? Because it wasn't an action item. So it was a presentation. So that was the intent of this. This was a presentation. This was the intent to give education to the public, give education to the, we said the Board of Supervisors, the City Council.
Right.
Gives an opportunity to ask questions. This is part of the process. It's slow. I get it. It hurts. I get it.
Neil says City Council work session this afternoon, right now, this afternoon.
So-
on this topic, Neil?
It may not be on the agenda. It
Is
may
that
not.
is the work session about this afternoon, Neil Williamson?
Yeah. And typically in work sessions, they won't take action. It's not a,
Yeah, it's like a brainstorming session.
yeah, so work session is just exactly that. It's a work session. There's not action items that are on a work session agenda. So it may be on the agenda. I don't know. But it was a presentation. Therefore, that's exactly what it was. Chance for debate, chance for conversation. It'll probably come on the next regular scheduled meeting, assuming, and I believe, and it's a great question. I don't know if Chip Boyles controls the agenda or the mayor controls the agenda. I know bodies that I sit on as a chair, I control the agenda, and what's on the agenda, what's not on the agenda, with the support of my executive directors. I'm not really sure how the city works.
Eric Arnold. Eric, are you watching? Eric Arnold says this. In fact, I'm going to say I am mentioning.
Who's up 12:30
this
for you today?
right now on Real Talk. Alex.
Oh yeah, Alex is a home
I
run.
love talking with Alex Serpi, who's
Alex-
watching. He's watching the show.
Alex
now.
would be a great part of this conversation.
Alex Serpi is watching the show right now. Eric Arnold, when you present any idea surround.
Alex, come in early. Let's sit down and talk.
Yeah, there you go. Well, he does it Tuesdays virtually
Got it.
because he's running a business.
That's right. Today is Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, today's Tuesday. Eric Arnold says when you present an idea.
That's an age thing, by the way.
What's that?
I don't remember what day it is.
Okay. Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Rock.
Sorry. Rock.
When you present any idea surrounding.
Carpet cleaner.
That is carpet cleaner. Yeah. We have a carpet cleaner in the studio right there. Eric Arnold, when you present any idea surrounding economics or revenue to a group of people who are solely focused on perceived social justice, ... you get inaction.
And I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm just talking about the way the process is architected, right? It's just, I'm not picking a side. I'm not saying one thing. It's just the way the process. Once I saw it was a presentation, it was never going to be an action item, right? So it was never going to be. Now, the next time it comes up, it'll probably be in an action item portion of the agenda, and that's when somebody's going to be looking for a first or second debate, right? There'll be
So the crappy part about that is, and I should choose a different word besides crappy, the unfortunate aspect of that is
for guys like you and I, it sucks because we want to move faster.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
So
But
the
that's-
next time it comes before council is a month, is it a month from now? No, it's the second Tuesday of the month. Is that right, Neil? The
Yeah.
second Tuesday of the month?
Well, it has to get on the agenda.
So I would imagine it's July 13th. Is that right, Neil Williamson? July 13th is the next time this is going to be up for vote
I don't know.
from council rules. Neil makes the show better.
Of course he
From
does.
council rules, the city manager shall ensure a proposed agenda is prepared for the mayor's consideration 9 business days before the
Yeah.
meeting.
That's exactly right.
The agenda, so this is pretty good stuff. The agenda of every regular council meeting is approved by the mayor.
Correct.
Any council member
Correct.
desiring to add items to the proposed agenda should submit them to the city manager and the mayor 10 days before the meeting.
No later than 10 days. before.
Last-minute submissions are discouraged,
Yeah.
but may be added to a regular meeting agenda, subject to a vote of council at the meeting approving a change to the published agenda.
Correct.
When he continues with this here. That was
Yeah.
good stuff.
So the bottom line is the mayor could choose not to have this on the agenda.
Yeah.
She ultimately, or he, or whoever the mayor is, gets that. And the other jurisdictions are very similar to that. The chairperson, ultimately does that. But 9 times out of 10, you always kind of lean on your
City manager.
or county
Staff,
administrator
yeah.
or stuff like that. Because it's at the end of the day, they are manager managed jurisdictions, not strong mayors or something like that where they are managed that. But yeah, I couldn't remember for sure. But thank you, Neil, for clarifying.
Brian
that.
Dean Susia.
Oh yeah, just saw him this morning, looking good, brother.
Thank you for this show.
Yeah, sharp dude. Sharp dressed dude. I would say in the Keller Williams Alliance team, he kind of beats me. Oh yeah, he's pretty sharp looking, sharp dude.
Okay.
So I hope we kind of answered some questions.
I think you did.
I hope we did.
I learned a hell of a lot today.
Yeah, cross. I tried to keep it as neutral as possible, but at the end of the day, I will always. Not that I'm going to defend elected officials. Because I've been doing this for so long, I know the struggle that they go through. And I know how hard it is to sit on that dais and do this, and how hard it is to have folks like you and I, because we're pretty...
Pushing the tempo.
Yeah, we like to push the tempo
Yeah.
and on that stuff. And the older I got, the less I pushed the tempo. When I was a young man like you, I was really pushing the tempo
Yeah.
on that end of it.
Well, you got to have somebody pushing the tempo.
Absolutely. But,
And I don't mind the heat that comes from pushing the tempo. You didn't either.
nope, still don't.
Yeah.
As my wife would say, Keith, you're a little bit of an opinionated man. So I am an opinionated man, and that's okay. God bless America. I can have my opinion, but the reality of it is back on this end of the stuff. I ultimately think it's going to pass. I ultimately think it's a great idea. Ultimately, I think it's a win-win. I'm not deep into the how, and I think that's where Michael's coming
He
from.
wants to know the logistics.
He wants to know logistics. How does this work? How do you close off the streets?
I think how you say it. Because perception is reality in the age of social
I'm going to stop you right there, brother. I got to do this to you.
Okay.
And I'm going to defend these guys.
Okay.
Again, you and I do this
Sure.
how many times a week? Twice a week.
Twice a week.
3 to 4 hours a week.
Easily.
There's not a single show that I walk away going, shit, I wish I would have said this
I
differently.
totally get that.
So just
Totally get
just
that.
to say that.
The difference is...
I love you.
The difference is...
That I won't walk back.
You're not on the dais right now. And the perception is, this is how you say it. I think this is a great idea that we should get behind, but we need to consider the logistical cost associated with this great idea.
So there's not a show that goes by that I wish I would have said that like Jerry. You are really, really good at thinking on your feet.
Sure, it's a lot of practice. I've been doing this for 20 years.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Michael has not.
That's fair. That, I'll give you that.
Michael has not.
That's a fair point.
maybe if you sat down and had a coffee with him in your wonderful I Love Charlottesville
Yeti cup.
Yeti
Yeah.
cup,
Thank you.
he might say, I wish I would have said it differently. I don't know that for a fact.
I think he would.
On that end of it. But that doesn't change the intent on that
Yeah.
end of it. It's just hard, man. My hat's off to you. I wrap up these shows and go, and I'll do this today, walking in the rain, going, man, I wish I didn't say that, or this was horrible. I did a lousy job.
Well,
or,
I don't get that from you.
well, I do that to myself,
Right.
right? And I take this very seriously because Scott's watching, and there's people watching, and I take what I say.
Scott Morris is watching too.
Scott Morris is a rock star.
He said, Jerry, update the logo on the screen.
Oh, that's me.
No, we just updated it. He got it. Judah did on the fly.
Oh,
Literally sent me a text.
yeah, that was me. I was supposed to send that to Judah last week, and I missed doing it.
I said-
Sorry about that, Scott.
Yeah, we
That's
got
on
it.
me.
We got it. He said, awesome, thank you.
I own that 100%.
Yeah.
That was on me. Forgot to do that. I was decompressing from a wedding. Still decompressing from a wedding.
We've set a record.
Are we? What time is
Yeah,
it?
47.
Cool.
You now have
well,
the record.
Well, the record was with
QB.
no,
Oh, Jerry Market?
Neil and
Oh, that was a record.
that was we went to 12 on that
Did
one.
we go to noon? I don't
We
think
did go to noon.
I think we just
we
eclipsed
went. Go back, watch the tape, roll the tape.
Roll the tape.
I remember because I was watching my watch, making sure everybody talked until 12 o'clock. That was our longest one.
Okay. Well, this was fun.
I was thinking this was going to be a short one.
But it was great.
It wasn't, it's just a tough topic. And how do you turn this stuff into Batman and Robin?
Well, we did.
I hope we did.
Dude, look at the chemistry. Look what he just said.
I can't see over there, buddy.
Read it out
What a
loud.
team, Batman and Robin.
Mustache Dan Pettit. Perfect cue.
Good man.
Dan Pettit, good people. He's got a great baseline ground stroke in tennis. Man can play some great tennis.
You watching? Well, the French Open is over. Oh, is the French Open over?
The French Open.
That is over. Yeah.
Yeah, French Open's over.
What's next?
UVA
US
baseball
Open.
tonight.
Yeah.
College World Series.
Yeah. How do you think they're going to do?
I mean, boys of summer are on fire.
No
this
shit.
team is red hot.
Man.
Brian O'Connor.
Have you ever met, you've met him? You
Oh,
interviewed him,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Pretty
First
neat.
day on the job.
Yeah, that's right. I remember listening to this.
Said, who's our biggest rival? Virginia Tech. It's Virginia Tech, right. Now look at him, one of the greatest coaches in the history of Virginia.
My mother is a huge, as everybody knows, I love my mommy. And my mom is a huge baseball fan. And we bought her, mom is, oh God, I think mom's 35. I'm not supposed to tell her age. But we bought him a brand new iPad Pro.
Okay.
So she can watch her baseball games. And she couldn't figure out how to get the Xfinity app on a thing. So at Father's Day, I got the Xfinity. So now she sits up in the kitchen. She's got it on there, and she's watching she's a Nats fan.
Okay.
So she's watching the Nats fan. And
That's a good gift.
yeah, and now that COVID is over next year, but my mom and I take my mom out to every UVA baseball home game. We sit down and we just have fun.
Mississippi State, 7 p.m. tonight. ESPN 2.
2.
National television. ESPN 2. Virginia 36 and 25
They
against
win that.
46 and 16 Mississippi State.
They win that. They go to the game. They go to the big dance, right? Or is it?
So confusing, the conference series. And
Yeah,
how it's
I
done.
was trying to read the
So
way.
confusing.
So I think if they win this today,
They go to the
they go to which is but I never understood this double
so confusing.
elimination
So
thing.
confusing.
We should get Brian on to explain it to him, but he's a little busy right
It's a
now.
little bit. I think maybe later in the summer you can do that.
Okay, Robin, we got to go.
We do have to go. This is Real Talk, guys. Real Talk, Real Talk, Real Talk, presented by Yes Team Realtors and Yes Realty Partners. We try to have fun. We make topics that are.
Thank you for helping me through this because I couldn't have done this without you. This was hard for me today.
Dude, I followed your lead.
No, thank you. You helped me through this. Thank
We
you.
make complicated topics. We try to make them approachable on this program, Real Talk. We try to do it by having some fun. I Love CVille show is up in 40 minutes. Tracy Lee Shiflett says the game may be delayed due to rain.
Ooh,
It's raining right now outside the studio.
yeah, but that's in Omaha. Ooh.
That is in Omaha. Thank you, Tracy. You guys have a very good rest of your morning and
Thanks,
day.
everybody.
Thank you for joining us today on Real Talk. Hasta luego.
I stole the bagels. Thanks, man.
Very nicely done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Complicated topic made easy.
I hope we made it easy. I don't think